Good evening. I'm Lacy Hawkins, social studies teacher at Bedford North Lawrence and president of the North Lawrence Education Association. I wanted to speak to the board this evening about the difficult realities facing our students, teachers, and community. Our agenda tonight consists of one issue, a decision about how to best educate the approximately 124 7th and 8th grade students currently enrolled at Old Lake Middle School. Running a school with low enrollment is already a challenge, but now we face the added challenge of having a slate of open positions to teach these students. I know that many in the community are concerned about how we arrived at this point and want to do what we can to address these problems. My role as association president puts me in contact with schools and teachers around the state. Many of the issues we face are not unique to North Lawrence. The Indiana State Legislature has been clear about their efforts to force schools to be more fiscally responsible, which has resulted in tightening school budgets and forcing schools to take drastic consolidation measures. While it may seem like North Lawrence is the only school facing these issues, the reality is we are not. Many Indiana school districts saw the writing on the wall and got ahead of these problems by undertaking consolidation as soon as the funding changes were implemented in 2012. For example, Rockville and Turkey Run consolidated in 2013. School City of Hammond began their consolidation in 2019 and is now significantly boosting pay for all of their employees. Meanwhile, North Lawrence chose from the beginning not to worry about how badly these funding changes would affect our budget. We made do with the funding cuts by freezing employee salaries and by spending out of our rainy day fund. A decade later, we are paying for that decision. We kicked the can down the road, and we have come up on it again. While many other schools are reaping the benefits of their painful consolidations, we're a decade behind and going through it seemingly alone. After our painful and desperately necessary consolidation in 2020, we were hit with a second challenge that has been more unique to North Lawrence. We made the difficult decision to close buildings to cut our cost, and then saw two of these buildings seized by charter schools who will pull their funding from the same limited budget as NLCS. Anyone wondering how we got here tonight needs to know these things. We have made very poor financial decisions for over a decade, and we now face a financial drain from charter school expansion in our community. It is certainly easier to believe the confabulation of social media gossip pages that this is the conspiracy of a single person. But the reality is much more complicated, and if we don't understand that, we will never overcome these challenges. The reality for the approximately 124 NLCS students enrolled at OMS is that they cannot be provided with the same standard of education as their fellow students enrolled at BMS. As the board of directors of NLCS, you need to do what's best for these students. For anyone who wants to know what we can do to get teachers to go to OMS, I want to say that I know of no solutions. We have posted the positions, but with 2,160 open teaching positions on the Indiana Department of Education website, I checked before I came, we will have a difficult time filling these openings. State law allows us to forcibly transfer teachers from BMS or BNL to these open positions at OMS, but again, with openings everywhere, many paying upwards of $10,000 or $20,000 more, I have advocated that we do everything we can to keep and place our teachers where they want to be and feel they are most effective. We absolutely cannot afford to forcibly transfer a teacher to a position they don't want and then lose that teacher altogether when they leave us for elsewhere. Current contract law allows us to financially incentivize a high-need position like math teacher or special education teacher, but it does not allow us to financially incentivize teachers for a particular building. With no teachers, our only option of keeping students at OMS then would be to put them on a virtual learning platform, which is inequitable and unjust. How can we begin to pretend that we are serving students at OMS by placing them in front of the screens and allowing the BMS students to access teams of teachers who know them and love them and provide them not only with real human interaction, but also opportunities for hands-on learning? I think about my own class and my students and the efforts I make for them. I take them outside, I teach them how to hunt with prehistoric tools, we mummify apples, we turn the classroom into trenches for World War I, we march around the room like a Spartan army, we celebrate May Day by dancing around a maypole. It breaks my heart to imagine putting my wonderful future students back in front of computers for another year when they could be learning about Newton's laws of motion by setting off water bottle rockets in Jennifer Gratzer's science class, or graphing slopes to create stained glass inspired artwork in Kelly Tyree and Amy Boris's math classes, or making stop motion animation of cellular division in Allison Thompson's science class, or practicing martial arts schools in Christy Strasser's history class, or making gnome homes out of clay in Sean Steele's art class. You have a decision before you tonight, one that may be emotionally difficult, but not one that is a lose-lose proposition. We can vote to have our students together at BMS with rockstar teachers, or we can put them in front of a computer for virtual learning. I'm invested with all parties on this. I want these kids to have a great school year with these colleagues that I love, and I want my colleagues that I love to know that we know that they provide a better, fuller education than kids are going to get sitting in front of a screen. I believe you want what's best for all NLCS students. And I believe you want teachers to feel trusted and valued. How you vote tonight is going to make it very clear if you're willing to stand up for those beliefs. We're in a bad situation, but we have a clear way to take care of our kids and teachers. I'm asking tonight that you let my colleagues at BMS rise to the occasion and welcome our kids from OMS into a building where they will be loved and protected and advocated for and given an amazing education.